President Biden met virtually with European allies amid rising tensions in Ukraine. They're discussing Russia's military buildup on that country's border. A new video released today by Russia shows its troops conducting military exercises. This comes as President Putin denies he is preparing to invade Ukraine. He is demanding assurances Ukraine will never be allowed to join NATO. The Pentagon, meanwhile, placed 8,500 U.S. troops on heightened alert for possible deployment to bolster NATO forces. The U.S. has also sent $200 million of emergency military assistance to Ukraine.
We've never ruled out the option of providing additional assistance in advance of an invasion. Those discussions have been ongoing.
Another shipment of American military equipment is expected Tuesday. Meantime, at Ukraine's capital of Kyiv, the State Department ordered all U.S. citizens and families of U.S. diplomats to leave the country. Now, this evening, the Department of Homeland Security is warning that if the U.S. responds to a potential Ukraine invasion, Russia may launch a cyber attack on our homeland. As KPIX 5's Wilson Walker reports, utilities and businesses are being told to prepare.
Well, I mean, I think what they're trying to do is kind of cover the Biden administration is trying to cover their bases. They're not really sure the extent of this crisis in cyberspace or beyond.
The tensions in Ukraine suddenly don't feel quite as far away now that Homeland Security is warning that an escalation with Russia could produce cyber attacks here. But is an attack from Russia necessarily an attack by Russia?
Well, it is actually really hard to know how much of the cyber activity that occurs in Russia is officially condoned by the Putin regime.
Jacqueline Schneider is with Stanford's Hoover Institution. She says a Putin-directed attack on U.S. infrastructure is unlikely. But then there's the shadowy world of Russian hackers like the group behind the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack.
So are we going to see more criminal activity during a Russia-Ukraine crisis?
If you're thinking about security right now, you're late. You have to be thinking about it since we started the whole thing in 2020 with the solar wind.
San Jose State professor Ahmed Benafa says the cyber conflict is an ongoing one, with plenty of likely targets beyond things like the power grids.
When you talk about hard target, you're talking about tech companies that will protect it. You're talking about banks.
Attacks can come in many shapes and forms and from different actors. The threat is an uncertain one, just like the situation in Ukraine.
And we're really unsure about what the overall intentions of Russia and Putin are, and that bleeds over into cyberspace.
Homeland Security has been bracing for this kind of attack. They've been holding classified briefings with the nation's largest banking interests, and the Energy Department has been holding private meetings with the nation's largest utilities. We're here in Palo Alto. Wilson Walker, KPIX 5.